everybody. Welcome to No Scrubs, brought to you by the great folks at Checked.com. Yeah, you heard me, Checked. CHEQUED.com. And of course, the great folks here at Fistful of Talent. No Scrubs, we're dedicated to helping you not make any bad hires. I'm your host, Dawn Burke. I am a contributor at Fistful of Talent, and I am the VP of People for Daxco in Birmingham, Alabama. And you know what? We're just going to get our guest out right now. Tim Sackett, how are you, brother? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me.
It appears that you have gotten some tips from some newscaster friends. I like the one earpiece.
Yeah, I have to have like the little, when it's like squiggly in the back and goes in the back of the shirt. And you're like, okay, I have a breaking news.
Breaking news, Check.com. Are the Check.com people feeding you the answers?
Greg and those guys, I'm sure, would love to, by the way. They're awesome people over there.
All right. Well, Tim, you got to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about what you do.
Tim Sackett. I'm SHRM, SCP, SPHR, CPA, EOD. I don't know, whatever. I'm a president of HRU Technical Resources. It's an IT engineering staffing firm that I go in and out, right?
Sorry, I love it.
In Lansing, Michigan, and I'm also a contributor at FOT, and also write for the aptly named Tim Sackett Project at timsackett.com.
I was going to say, real original name there. Good creative team working there at HRU.
You know how that works.
I do. All right. Very good. All right. Well, a fabulous author at Fistful of Talent, that'd be me, wrote a piece this week. It's sponsored by Checked, again, CHEQUED.com, and it's called Want to Be Taken Seriously? This is for HR folks. Then quit being a wingman, damn it. And I have to tell you, Tim, this blog post was actually inspired by you. That's why I'm so excited that you're the guest today. So really wow, there you go. I know you're excited to just pop in on the screen.
It's the multiple camera angles. You can't stop me.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I do feel like we're on the newsroom somewhere. So anyway, back to my post. Come on, Tim, back to my post. So essentially, we're talking about HR putting themselves in the role of number two, the wingman. Kind of like HR is the Stevie to Kenny Powers, right?
Yeah.
He's found down, kind of the Lloyd to Ari in Entourage. And so me and you were talking about recruitment, and we were talking about this phenomena. So it feels like HR does a lot of the heavy lifting with a lot of different functions in an organization. They're the wind beneath everybody's wings, but then they don't get much credit. So that could be true. It might not be true, but I want to get your take. So first of all, Tim, what is your definition of a wingman? Got to hear it from you.
I think that, traditionally what I would think of as a wingman is I'm the guy at the bar next to my good-looking friend, and he's hitting on the good-looking girl, and I get hooked up with her friend who might not be as good-looking because my good-looking friend didn't hit on her.
Right.
And so I'm the wingman, and I'm, going to take one for the team and take the less attractive female of the two that we're going after. Right? I think that's what that's what they say when there's a wingman.
That's right.
I don't really know, probably because I've never been the wingman, but I assume
Did you have wingmen?
All those buddies going to the bar are like, come on, I know what a wingman is.
That's right. Very good. Very good. So typically the wingman then's doing all the work though, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they doing all the work? All right. So when you've been in several HR roles throughout your career, you've also met a lot of HR folks and worked with a lot of HR folks and recruiters. Have you witnessed this phenomena in HR, or am I hallucinating this?
No, I think it happens all the time. But the one thing is, I didn't get a chance to talk about this, but I think it brings up a good thing. I've been a wingman for a lot of people, right? Marketing, IT, finance. You tend to get into meetings and you kind of help each other out, especially on like same level peer. Like if I'm a director of HR and I'm a director of IT and they need something, I can be that wingman. But I've also had it happen the other way where they're my wingman a lot, especially when I'm talking about like marketing or finance, and you go into a meeting and your finance guys like being your wingman and standing up for you when the CEO is like, no, you don't need that, and they're like, oh yeah, they do.
So you have like reciprocal wingmen.
I think you should, right? I mean, I always did. I don't know if that's normal, but it seemed like if I was going to be a wingman for somebody else, I was calling that card in eventually, and they were going to be my wingman.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that sounds like a healthy organization, though. All right, have you really worked for a healthy organization, Tim? I don't believe you. No, but I think that actually brings up a good point. Being a wingman actually it can be very, very good. It's collaborative working.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So when have you seen this go bad? Have you seen the HR phenomena as being the wingman not work out so well?
Yeah, I mean, I think traditionally when we talk about it or think about it, you see it when it happens when HR continues to be that wingman time and time again, and then there becomes a perception, I think, by leadership that that's their only ability, right? That they can't take the lead position, that they can't be the one, kind of carrying the ball. And so I think you have to be careful, and I think that's one of those why I felt like always, if I was going to be somebody's wingman, that's cool. But I'm going to find a way for you to be mine. Yeah. Because I think you run that risk of saying, there's just no way around it that, I'm continuing to be the wingman and that's all I'm going to be. And people, start to see you that way.
Well, what I've seen, Tim, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. When I started in HR, I started, of course, like as an assistant. Wow, I know that was exciting. I love how you're jumping out at me, just popping out at me. I love it. This is great.
Technology, baby.
I love it. I love it. But I started out in HR, and a lot of the folks who were training me at the time, who are still mentors to me in a lot of respects, though, years ago, it really did feel like we were almost ushered into our worth was about helping other people. Yeah. And I think that was true until it wasn't. I think there is a point of diminishing returns, particularly when it comes to administrative things. And I can say, Tim, I was the worst about it, and some of my peers were the worst about it when we were recruiters. Yeah. And I think this is when me and you had a really good conversation about, one of the lead recruiters would tell me, it's our job, and it's the way we bring worth is by really doing everything for the hiring manager so they don't have to do it. Have you seen that before? And typically, what have you done about it?
Well, for me, I think, going back to the conversation, one of the things that I've always asked in every organization I've come into is who owns recruiting? Mm-hmm. And to find out who would answer like I do. And usually like talent acquisition and recruiting was like, oh, we own recruiting. And I was like, that's the wrong answer. You just failed, right? In the best organizations, the hiring managers will stand up and say, hey, I own recruiting for my group. I own the talent. I am responsible for anything that happens. Now, I want to use recruiting. I want a great talent acquisition team that can be a great tool for me to bring in great talent. But don't believe that you're the one that owns it, because ultimately you're not making the final decision. But when I think what happens then is that turns on its side, and the recruiting talent acquisition folks go, well, we have to show our value, and thus we're going to take off everything off the hiring manager's plate and kind of be this dance secretary, so to speak, in terms of all that, administrative stuff that happens, setting up the interview and coordinating this. And, the reality is hiring managers, for the most part, I don't think really want that or need that, So I think they would rather say, hey, just give me the resume. I'll call this person when I can. If you want, let the candidate know that I'll be contacting him, and I'll take it from here. And I think there's always that risk of candidate experience and stuff like that going south, where they go, because everyone has it, right? We have the one hiring manager who won't return the call. Like, hey, I told the candidate you were going to call him tomorrow, and you never did, and you never did, and you never did. And then all of a sudden the candidate goes, screw you guys, I don't want to be a part of it.
Exactly.
And you miss out on some great talent. Yeah. But to me, that's always the one-off. So why manage the exception, don't manage the rule from that standpoint.
Yes, agreed. And one of the things I noticed too is, I think in an evolution of companies, what happens a lot of the times is you have a company where there is no HR department, there is no recruiting department, and all the hiring managers are responsible for their hires. Then they get really big, and some muckety-muck says, we need a recruiting department. Yeah. So the recruiting department feels that they have to take all of that stuff from them, and it's usually the stuff that the hiring managers never wanted to let go of anyway. So then I think you kind of have this overzealousness. Then, of course, you have evolved to the next size of the company, where then all the recruiters are like, take it back, we don't want it. So last but not least, I gotta ask you, if you are, because you're Sackadamus, right? Isn't that what we call you?
Sackadamus.
Sackadamus, thank you. So let's say you're in HR, and you have been a wingman, for better or for worse, and you don't want to be in that role anymore. Do you have any advice to HR pros on how they can back out of that role?
Yeah, you start with a test, right? You start with a hiring manager you know that wants to take it on themselves. They want more responsibility. They want to own maybe some of that stuff on themselves. And you say, hey, we're going to test something because it's going to have a positive impact. They're going to want it. They're going to feel like they have more. I wouldn't say freedom, right? It's more not even responsibility, but just they can handle their own business and they can do it in their own time frame. And then you start sharing with the rest of the organization, hey, this test is going really well, and you get positive feedback from the hiring manager, who's all going to say, oh yeah, you wanted to do this on your own as well because it's so much easier, so much faster, blah blah blah. And then you test it to another group, right? And then it slowly becomes the norm. We try to roll stuff out in HR and talent acquisition, like one big thing, we drop it on the organization and it fails for the most part. Mm-hmm. Usually, I mean, so many HR programs fail in that manner. And I think the ones that are really good at it test it little by little, and then everybody else wants a piece of it. And so then they start doing it that way.
That's awesome. So essentially, you need referenceable advocates.
Yes.
Did you like that?
I like that.
You've trademarked that.
We haven't you?
I know, I haven't. All right, guys. Tim, thank you so much. That's going to do it today for No Scrubs, of course, brought to you by Chequed.com, CHEQUED.com. Tim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dawn.
And again, I'm loving the in and out Zoom action there. It's really good. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day and happy hiring.